What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So I want to show you this clip. This is coming from ABC News, and this was prior to the election. Okay, so we didn't know who the winner was going to be, but the CBO, the Congressional Budget Office, they came out with basically information. They did research on Social Security plans. So they were looking at Harris's Social Security plan as well as President Trump's Social Security plan. And they had some findings, and so I want to show you guys this, and we'll talk a little bit about it. Obviously, President Trump will be our next president, and so we really need to focus on what they're saying about President Trump's plan and how it would expedite the trust funds being depleted. So that's what I want to focus on in this video. But first off, you guys can do me a favor. Please like the video, and if you're watching this video and you want to see more content like this, please consider subscribing to the channel. Okay, so let's go right over to this clip, and then we'll talk a little bit about it. Here we go.
Have you ever heard of the Congressional Budget Office? Don't fall asleep on me. This really is important for you to know as you think about your golden years. They might just be cut short financially. The Nonpartisan Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget is actually predicting that Trump's vision for Social Security would cause the program to go bankrupt 3 years early. That means all of you 58-year-olds shouldn't bank on getting that cash via Social Security come 65. They say that Harris's plans, on the other hand, would not have large effects on Social Security's trust fund solvency. Let's bring in our Elizabeth Schulze. She's going to tell us how we can all still plan on enjoying that margarita on the beach as soon as we turn 70, or whatever it is you like to drink. All right, Elizabeth, what exactly is Trump proposing?
First of all, Kira, no one should ever fall asleep when they hear Congressional Budget Office. We're talking about your hard-earned money. We're going to make this so interesting. And here's why people should care. We're talking about 67 million Americans who rely on Social Security. And what Trump is proposing is a pretty significant cut to those benefits if the series of plans that he's put forward do end up going into place. So when you look at Trump's economic proposals, of course, we hear a lot about those sweeping tariffs that he's talking about. He talks about lowering the corporate tax rate beyond what he already did, which was really his signature legislative accomplishment in his first term. He also wants to end taxes on tips, something that Vice President Harris he says, copied in her platform. And then look there, that last bullet, eliminate the tax on Social Security wages. What's critical about that is that right now, taxes are collected when you earn money from Social Security. And that ends up being a critical revenue stream to fund that program in the future. So basically, by Trump saying he wants to end those taxes, which would give immediate relief to maybe some seniors now, it would risk basically running out of money from Social Security going forward. So that trust fund could run out of money in 6 years. This is according to the nonpartisan. This is a nonpartisan analysis from the Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget. If without Trump's plans, we're looking at 9 years that fund would run out of money. And then that 33% benefit cut is pretty significant. What that means, Kira, is that if there is no other way to fund this critical program, you would see your benefits go down by 33%. And for a lot of seniors who are relying on that income, that is a pretty big deal when you think about the day-to-day finances.
Okay, so, and I want to go over some things really quickly. So she was talking about you saw the 6 years, and so 9 years is what we're hearing right now. If we don't have anything else implemented when it comes to Social Security, well, the Social Security Fairness Act looks like that's going to pass. So that will expedite the trust fund depletion by about 6 months. But if we have no taxes on Social Security, that could expedite it by 2 or 3 years. And so then we'd be looking at just 6 years until the trust funds run out of money. So you can imagine we have, President Trump will be president for 4 years, and that next president coming in their first 2 years, they're going to have to address the Social Security reform, or President Trump is going to have to address Social Security reform in his term. So it's pretty amazing when you start looking at things. Now, this is good if you were to eliminate taxes for people receiving Social Security benefits. It will benefit some people receiving Social Security benefits, because people who are receiving Social Security benefits right now and paying taxes, they would no longer have to pay those taxes, and so they would have more money in their pocket. However, it's not going to help everyone on Social Security. So people who don't pay taxes, people who are at or below the poverty line, they're not paying taxes, and so it's not going to impact them at all when it comes to the benefits that they receive. They won't have a little extra money in their pocket, but they will see that cut in 6 years if they were to implement no taxes on Social Security. So you can see it will help people who pay taxes right now, but then it's going to hurt everyone across the board who's receiving Social Security benefits after that 6-year mark if they don't reform Social Security. And you saw, she also said that 33%. So by 2035, she used the term 2035. So we'll say 2035, we'd be looking at cuts of about 33%, which I've heard 23%, but that's, of course, we weren't factoring in the taxes, the no taxes on Social Security benefits. So I'm sure that's impacting it as well. And so although it looks good to say no taxes on Social Security, in the long run, everyone receiving Social Security benefits is going to be hurt, even the people who are getting the tax break. Because when we get to that point where the trust funds are depleted, they're going to see a cut as well. So do you really want no taxes on Social Security and then in 6 years see a cut across the board to Social Security? I don't know. And which would be more beneficial? Is it going to be more beneficial to not have to pay taxes on your Social Security benefits or take that 33% cut?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And so what should Americans do with all this information now? Start saving more, investing more, buy gold bars? I mean, this is where you need to help us out here. Tell us what, folks need to do.
Okay, so I don't know that we're at the point of buying gold bars yet, though we have seen a lot of people do that at Costco with like the gold rush that's happened there. What the key line here is that this is a problem regardless of who the next president is. And what this Committee of a Responsible Federal Budget has been saying, frankly, for years, Kara, is this is something that lawmakers should start to think about now. And they want the public awareness about the fact that there need to be these long-term solutions because that fund will run out of money in 9 years without any changes. And just as far as the dollar amount that would cost a typical 2-income household, $16,500 in annual benefits within the next couple of years. So what do you want to do right now? I guess the first thing is just an awareness.
Well, I mean, that's pretty shocking. If you look at the number there, typical household would lose $16,500 in annual benefits in 2033. So you can see that's a large amount of money that people will not be receiving. People on Social Security right now will not be receiving, on average, not everyone, but that's going to be a huge disaster if they can't reform Social Security. That's why I'm always talking about they need to reform Social Security. Look at some of the proposals that are out there. The Social Security 2100 Act is out there right now. It would address a lot of these issues that Social Security is facing right now with the trust fund. It will extend that trust fund out. And so they're going to have to address this at some point. When are they going to do it? The later you wait, the worse off everyone will be. And the more money that we're going to have to put into this in order to fix it, because the bottom line here is you can't cut your way out of this. I don't care what politicians out there telling you, oh, we can just make cuts to Social Security or we can raise a full retirement age up to 70. That's not going to be enough. You have to bring in more revenue. And that's going to mean that you're going to have to either tax people, raise the cap, so tax people who are making over $168,600, start taxing them so they start paying into the FICA tax, because right now, once you get over $168,600, you no longer have to contribute. And so make those people start contributing or raise the payroll tax across the board for everyone who's working right now. Tell people we're going to have to increase the payroll contribution by 1% or by 2%, and the employer is going to have to match that increase. And then that would bring in enough revenue to extend Social Security out for another 50 years and provide, and in some cases, depending on what the proposals are, in some cases it would provide an increase for people who are currently receiving Social Security benefits across the board.
About this. The second thing to think about is always starting small when you're starting to save. So even if you're way far off from that age that you're thinking about collecting Social Security benefits, probably not a bad idea to have this in the back of your mind of what would I need to do? What kind of income would I need to have? I talk to a lot of younger households, Kara, who say they actually aren't relying on Social Security. They don't expect that Congress will be able to come together to find some sort of solution. I think we've seen, Kara, that usually there is some sort of last-minute deal, but this is one that will require significant legislation to address this shortfall. So starting small, thinking about that budget over time, maybe not quite time to buy the gold bars yet, but also just when you're thinking about your savings overall, you always want to think about company matches. That's something that a lot of people leave on the table when you're thinking about your 401k or your own savings plans. And you also want to think about trying to invest in a way that can give you those returns over the long terms. A lot of people have money sitting in savings. They're not earning returns on those savings. They're not in a high yield savings account. They're not even maybe invested in a portfolio with stocks and bonds. That is one way to leave money on the table, and that is something you don't want to do when you're thinking about your long-term savings and finances.
That is correct.
Okay, so they're going off into the election, so we'll just stop it there. But we obviously know who won the election. President Trump won the election, and so we're going to have to go with his plan. So what does he want to do when it comes to Social Security? And the only real thing that he said is he wants to waive taxes on people receiving Social Security benefits. And so we'll have to see if Congress actually moves forward with this, because Congress has to do this. This is not, the president doesn't have a magic wand where he can just say, okay, we're waiving taxes from Social Security benefits. This is going to have to go through Congress. When it comes to money, when it comes to the purse, Congress holds the purse. And so they decide what happens when it comes to situations like this. And so will Congress in 2025 vote to waive taxes on people receiving Social Security benefits? We'll have to see. Right now, we're looking at the Social Security Fairness Act, and it looks like the Senate will go ahead and vote on this, and they'll probably pass it, and the president will sign off. President Biden will sign off on it. And so that right there will expedite the trust funds. But I think in both situations, these are things that are good for people receiving Social Security benefits, but they have to reform Social Security. That's more important right now. And so the Social Security Fairness Act, I think it's good. I think eliminating weapon GPO is good. It will impact a lot of people receiving pensions, just like me. But they also need to reform Social Security so we won't see any expedited, we won't see the trust funds be depleted at all. And so those two issues, waiving taxes on Social Security and Social Security Fairness Act, I think they're good issues. I'm glad that Congress is actually looking at this, or at least the Social Security Fairness Act they're looking at. We don't know what they're going to do when it comes to waiving taxes on people receiving Social Security benefits. We'll have to wait until next year to find that out. But I'm glad to see that Congress is at least looking at some of the different provisions that are a part of Social Security, and they're saying, okay, let's make some changes. But ultimately, they need to reform Social Security. I'm going to keep saying that. I'll keep doing videos talking about this. I will let you guys know the different politicians like Representative Larson that's out there saying, look, we need to reform Social Security. We need to do it yesterday, because the longer we wait, the worse off everyone will be. And so I want to know what you guys think. So let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.